I believe in coaching. So I went to productivity coaching and I walked into the room and I walked out within 5 minutes because they were talking about scripts, right? And manipulating conversations and keying in on keywords and not listening to people and receiving what they're saying, but listening with intent to interject a sales pitch. Like, that's not for me. And I said, what do you do for digital marketing? And this lady who's collecting 10% of everyone's paycheck said, I don't even have a Facebook group or page. I was like, yo, I'm out of here. Thank you. But this is not for me. What I witnessed and what I know now is that your resources don't extend outside of those brick walls. The collaboration stops as soon as the door swings behind you. Collaboration is a beautiful thing. And people don't realize that if you elevate the collective of all of us, like, the universe pays you back tenfold. I think it's old thought versus new paradigm.
You're listening to the number one real estate podcast in the world.
Cody, I'm not ready yet.
Oh, I hate you so much.
You got started without me. You didn't ask if everybody was ready. That's you, bro. That's on you.
No, that's not me. You had time to figure your shit out.
We're good.
Are you good now? You sure? You positive?
I wish I had the womp 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 for you right now.
Yeah, well, you don't. So shut up for a second. Let me do.
Wah, wah.
I know it's hard for you to keep your mouth shut sometimes, but this it's for 3 minutes.
It's much harder for you to. Never mind.
Okay, here we go.
Sure, you guys are in love. It's so cute.
Yeah, it's
Cody, stop talking. Let's start the fucking podcast, bro.
Okay, you ready? You're listening to the number one real estate podcast in the world, where we talk with real estate professionals all across North America, but their wins, their losses, lessons, and stories help you win in your local market today. My name is Cody from Sheridan Street. I am joined with Vikram Deol of the Real Estate Sales Academy. Vikram Deol, how are you doing? I think this is our second last podcast of the day. We have one more left. For those that don't know, or for those that are listening back on iTunes or Spotify, we pre-record 4 to 5 episodes every Friday to bring you the best and the brightest in the industry, a ton of knowledge. And there's been so far today, like, just crazy tactical things that you can do on the podcast. And I'm really excited to intro our guest a little bit later. But before we intro our guest, Vikram, what is up? What's up?
You know what's crazy about the last 2 guests that we had? They had both been through the financial crisis meltdown of 2009, and both of them were significantly impacted by it, and both of them have come out of the gates. I kind of call it like the gates of hell for them and their lifestyles. Like it was very impactful, and it's so, like, I love a resilient person. I love the Rocky story. Like, I love the underdog coming back and crushing it. And our last 2 guests were definitely that. And it from the green room, it sounds like our current guest has been through a few tough times. But no, man, things are really cool. Like, I'm working with a potential new hire on the team that would just really be a win for all of our clients, be a win for me. Just like the level of organization and planning that this guy's got, it's like wow. It's pretty cool. So I'm super pumped about that. Like, anything I can do to make the Real Estate Sales Academy better and bring in top talent to serve our clients just always lights me up with joy. And then I talked with we're going back and forth on Slack with Jackie and I on your team, and I'm like, God, I really miss her. Like, I was like, we got to get like a weekly connection, or like every 2 weeks we got to connect. Like, just like I love your I don't even know what she is on your team.
COO.
COO,
operating officer. Yeah,
she's legit. So shout out to her. What are you working on in between podcasts?
In between podcasts right now, we there's a few things that we've been rocking this month. We decided to launch like a social media conversion boot camp.
Cool.
That's going to be popping out at the end of the month. And obviously, I mentioned on the last podcast, these free trials, these 3 live transfers. Trying to operationalize that has been hard, but it's been good at the same time. Like, we're really, like, the team's really banded together in order to really drive a massive amount of value back to the real estate community, kind of show them like what we can do, how we do it. And having the opportunity to partner with a lot of large teams that, like, me and Jack have had this conversation, a lot of the clients that we love, just absolutely love working with, they already have their lead gen locked in. They have like 80,000 leads in Boomtown, and they're not doing any outbound. They're doing a lot of inbound. So they have a dedicated concierge person, but there's no outbound that's happening with really large teams that you think would be doing outbound. They're just not. So we're finding holes in businesses and really solving some really cool problems in businesses. And it's super exciting, man. Like things are good. Life is good. You talk about, really having key hires. When you find that key hire, like for me, that was Jacqueline. And then Jacqueline, like we have a really strong core team. Jacqueline, Melissa, Allie, Aldo, and I, our leadership team really makes the world go around in the Sheridan Street world. But today, something I want to share before we enter our guests is today we did a State of the Union. It's something that I haven't done in a really long time, where I just kind of got everyone onto a Zoom call and just express my gratitude, express my love for everyone on the team. And you could tell that there was a lot of love and gratitude for where we're at. It's like there's been a lot of long days through trying to create, like, especially doing this trial thing. It's been a lot of long days trying to figure out how to operationalize this. And it was just a really cool, heartfelt moment for everyone just to kind of hear from me. Jacqueline planned it. She's like, I just want you to speak from your heart for 5-10 minutes. And it was very similar to when we were in Argentina last year, that you got the opportunity to kind of hear me speak from my heart. But speaking of
I have a question. I have a question. When you walked up to the podium, and you walked up to the microphone and the Zoom, there weren't any sandbags around for you to trip over, were there?
No, there wasn't. No.
Okay. I don't want you to get, I know you're a little bit younger and you're probably a little bit more virile and everything, but just wanted to make sure you don't get hurt while you do your inaugural State of the Union for Sheridan Street. So I'm glad you're safe. There's no stairs involved either, right?
No, there was no tripping. There's no tripping, fortunately. Some of us trip on things and some of us don't. But speaking of heartfelt, speaking of somebody that I've had the opportunity to get to know over the last little while, somebody that, just really serves from the heart, really wears his heart on his sleeve. I've had the opportunity to get to know Marty over the last couple of months pretty well, and really excited to intro Marty today out of the Chicago area to somebody that is doing some really cool things, really passionate about people, really passionate about life. And Marty, why don't you give us like a high level overview on kind of how you got into real estate? Kind of give us like the 1 minute Cold Notes version of who you are and how you help, and kind of like some of the 3 things that really light up your world.
Okay, so thank you for that beautiful applause. Vikram, I'm happy to meet you, and I love that you're embracing the grays and talking about Cody being so young. He's a very, very young spirit and a beautiful entrepreneur. I've been watching him for some time now. Just got to meet you and your assistant, and got to see your humor in making fun of this guy for drinking Coke and not having sugar in his coffee. I don't get it either.
It's Diet Coke, bro. It's Diet Coke.
Oh, it's extra cancer.
Diet Coke's worse for you. It really, it trips your serotonin, and there's no sugar in there.
Cody lived with me for like 6 months, and every day every time he grabbed a Coke, I just gave him the look, just the look.
Water today.
So, in 1 minute, I was when people ask me, what do you do? I say, I do a lot of things. I dance very well. I'm a best girl dad in the world. I'm an artist. I love to sing from my heart. I like practicing my 3 favorite dance moves, and I sell real estate, right? I don't identify with the things that I do, but the 3 things that I identify with, I just shared with you guys. I am a healer. I am a time traveler, and I am an artist, right? And my mom's like, yo, do you tell people you're a time traveler? I'm like, yo, yeah, hell yeah. And if somebody says, no, you're not, I'll be like, yo, close your eyes. I'll take you with me. Like, we'll go there together, through meditation and through guided, imagery. And we can go anywhere, right? So I was a health professional. I was in the fitness industry, and AJ Rivera was my mentor. He was the #1 fitness business mentor in the world. Within 3 months, what I saw that guy do, from taking an idea and manifesting it into material, into living in this world, in 4 months, I was just blown away. And it taught me that we are fully capable of doing anything and whatever we choose to believe and think about. If we walk towards it with certainty that it exists for us, because it does or it does not, but it's our choice. We can get there, and a lot of times faster than we can even imagine, or other people can too. So I'm very blessed to have been on my journey and cross paths with some of the people like Michael Collins, who introduced me to Cody May when I first got into real estate in 2019. And I told Cody, I'm like, yo, I was looking for a coach because what Keller Williams was providing me was like, the brokerage I was with was providing me was so weak, bro. Like, I'm just like, yo, I believe in coaching. So I went to productivity coaching, and I walked into the room and I walked out within 5 minutes because they were talking about scripts, right? And manipulating conversations and keying in on keywords and not listening to people and receiving what they're saying, but listening with intent to interject a sales pitch. Like, that's not for me. And I said, what do you do for digital marketing? And this lady who's collecting 10% of everyone's paycheck said, I don't even have a Facebook group or a page. And I was like, yo, I'm out of here. Thank you. But this is not for me. So I found, I talked to Cody May. I found Krista Mashore. I invested in her program. At the time it was everything I needed to be the number one producing agent in my brokerage my first year. And with an independently owned brokerage, what I witnessed and what I know now is that your resources don't extend outside of those brick walls. The collaboration stops as soon as the door, swings behind you. I was there. I went to another, familiar broker that was independently owned in year 2. And then in year 3, I joined a big, huge, what is it called? Corporation. And I met some of the most amazing people. And what that opened me up to was now I went from, that brick house to knowing people across 3 states in the Midwest, right? That's powerful. I got to become best friends with the vice president of the company and sell his house in Illinois when he got promoted to president elsewhere. And I got to hang out with my best friend, Janine Sassel. That's why I joined that brokerage, just to work in the same space as her, because I believe in collaboration. I believe in, showing up and, inspiring each other to be better and show up and chasing impact together collectively, whether we're client.
Why do you think people hold back from collaboration in this space? Because I've chatted with a ton of agents in a ton of different markets that some of them hold back the information that they're doing. And the whole reason that Vic and I started this podcast was to share stories, lessons, that this is not easy. This game is not easy. This is hard. This is really, really hard. Agents wake up first thing in the morning feeling like they don't have a job, feeling like they're broke because they don't have guaranteed income coming in. So why do you think that agents hold back, or like agents that are potentially winning? And do you think it's agents that are winning that are holding back, or why do you feel that there is a holdback in different brokerages with collaboration and sharing information?
Thank you for asking. So the economy is at a state of crisis right now, and there's going to be an upshift, right? Things are going to be correcting itself because there was a crisis for a reason. Things were not done correctly. And part of that, the things that were not done correctly was sales and manipulation. And our industry, because we get paid at the closing table, a lot of people lead with and create and manifest it in a place of fear and scarcity. So why should I give you all of my resources that I've manifested, which are, make me unique and very intentional and win me every listing presentation, if you're my competitor, right? That's how old people and prehistoric thought is. The way I think is like, yo, I'll give you all of everything that I've manifested. And if you beat me in a listing presentation, which you won't, because that's my presentation and I bring the heat. But if you do beat me, you deserve it. And I fucking love you for it. So
all right.
Collaboration is a beautiful thing. And people don't realize that, if you elevate the collective of all of us, the universe pays you back tenfold, so I think it's old thought versus new paradigm.
Marty, you are not party Marty. You are spiritual Marty.
I dance and sing like a rock star though.
I believe you do. I believe you do. So I'm gonna switch a different gear because this seems to be the jive of today. I should microdose mushrooms every time we do a podcast.
I microdose every day, brother. I just had a cap and I prayed and I meditated so that I say all the right words and leave all the in my bedroom.
We don't mind ums on this podcast. We actually teach
ums and ahs are good, especially on sales calls.
Ums and ahs are great on a sales call. But how? So you use the word manifest a lot, and I don't know that a lot of people understand what manifestation is. Like manifestation is really just visualizing what you want and then calling it in by constantly putting it in your ethos, in your sphere, in your brain, in your whatever you want to call it, right? But it's tapping into source energy, tapping into universal energy, and bringing that all through. I love like Joe Dispenza and people like that really help talk about the quantum.
No, Joe Dispenza is awesome, bro.
Yeah, I can't agree more. But like, what brought you down this pathway, or was this something like? Is this a new found thing, or is this something that you just started doing recently, or is it like your whole life you've been this spiritual gangster?
Okay, so what manifestation is it is mindful manipulation of matter with the masterful mind that belongs to you. That's what it is.
Okay.
So, and how I got here, I got here.
How do we use that? Maybe I'm gonna switch gears a little bit more. How do we use that information that you gave? Because like I don't know that a lot of people understand what you just said.
So in order to become all of everything that you embody, you have to release all of the energies that are unbelonging to you, that you have. I mean, let's say this, they belong to you right now. And that's like trauma. Let's say trauma, for example. Trauma is attached to energy. And when you have a root cause that is deep in your subconsciousness, like all the way down there at the center, it's the root cause of all evil. When you have that memory and that you've witnessed as like a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old or whatever it is, even like last week, bro, like that trauma is yours. And what I did for almost my entire life was I ran away from it. I didn't want to deal with it. I drank alcohol and I did a lot of cocaine and a lot of everything that, Lenny Kravitz did. And, I abused relationships. I abused myself. I didn't love myself. I didn't care much about anything other than, my selfish, ambitions, which just drove me downward. And my son, Max Robert, September 3rd, 2016, he went to heaven at childbirth. And what my mind tricked me into believing for about 3 years, is that he was dead and he was unbelonging to me and he didn't exist. And it crushed me. I was devastated. I couldn't drive my car without having to like pull over and cry, like hyperventilating. Like, I never had anxiety before. Like, and I have to now. Today I have to like smoke weed before I go into my networking events because like my anxiety is like a real thing. However, when I get in there, the vibes that I receive and the vibes that I deliver, they're impactful, they're powerful, and they're loved. But I talked to a therapist, cognitive behavioral therapy, for 2 years, and did not talk about my son. And what cognitive behavioral therapy does is it allows you to understand concepts at a cognitive level. However, we are all programmed by the subconscious mind, as Dr. Joe Dispenza speaks of. And my guru, her name is Dr. Deborah Sandella, and she co-wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul with Jack Canfield. And I stumbled upon RIM, Regenerating Images and Memory, on accident. Well, not on accident, like synchronicities and everything. But when I did, I was in Florida in Michael Klein's house, who's like Dr. Deb's right-hand man and creator of Intus. And, he's just such a powerful healer. I love him so much. I was in his living room. The second day of our 5-day intensive training for regenerating images and memory, which is a subconscious reprogramming modality that frees your mind of those hindering thoughts and it rewires your brain, bro. So cool. I was so the first day I was there at Michael Klein's house in Florida, like so intimate, and I learned about this work, and I called my wife at the time, my daughter's mother, and I said, and Max's mom, and I said, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can deal with Max because I avoided him talking in talk therapy for 2 years. And the next day, while we're in check-in circle, we're going around and checking everyone's vibration. I couldn't hold myself together. I lost it. I'm crying. And Michael Klein said, close your eyes. And I closed my eyes, and through the work, he brought my grandma back into my existence, who's been missing from me for 13 years. And when I said I prayed and I meditated before I ate my medicine this morning, I closed my eyes and I went to hang out with my grandma and my son and my brother, who are all in heaven. And, I'm so blessed that I stumbled upon this work and that Dr. Deborah Sandella is, here in this existence with us, because her work brought my grandma back to my life, and I needed her for the 5 sessions thereafter to go from a space of mourning my son's death and non-existence to celebrating his life. And literally, I feel him looking out of my eyes every day. He's my best friend, my biggest inspiration. And he's the reason I am able to be the father that my daughters deserve today. So that's, it's been a lot. I've been on a journey, and my journey is called healing. And my mission is to inspire others to heal, because when you begin to release yourself of those dark, hindering energies, and they are fucking heavy, they weigh you down. Yeah. Most people don't even know what it's like to not to be unattached to them, and they're triggering. It's horrible. But when you get rid of those demons and that shadow, what happens is you free your being to allow light and love to embody those spaces where the darkness is now gone.
I think there's a lot of, this podcast is got like, Vikram every once in a while says like, I'm getting shivers down my spine, or that's one of these podcasts for me where it's the like when I was doing the State of the Union today with our team, made me realize that there's a level of gratitude that I struggle to share with the team, even though I know I have it, I struggle to share it. And everything you're saying, I think that is so deep for a lot of agents or a lot of real estate agents or entrepreneurs to really deeply understand, because they're living from their current state. And it's very hard when you're living from your current state to see who you need to be 3-5 years. Like for me, like I talk to a lot of people, and I'm like, they ask me, like my team asked me, like, when they look towards the vision of what we're creating, I'm like, I'm trying to be that 10-year version of me. Like, how did you start this process of healing? Like, was there a defining moment in your life where you decided I wanted to be a better version of myself? And because I think the hardest step that a lot of people have in changing their lives is recognizing A, they have a problem, and B, how do I even do it? Like, what is the process that I take in order to even make the change that I need to make in my life? Because I think there are a lot of hurting people that have gotten into this industry, have gotten into the real estate, have become entrepreneurs, and they struggle because there's a lot of ego wrapped up in this, where we don't talk about how hard entrepreneurship is. It's not sexy all the time. Sometimes it's really tough, and there's a lot of shed tears, and there's a lot of late nights, and there's 17, 18-hour days where you feel like you're scratching, you're clawing to try to figure this out. You consciously made a decision that you were going to change your life. Like, how did you do that?
So words are very powerful, and something that you've said a few times, Mr. Cody, is need. Like, you need, like, whatever you need, like, don't care. What are you going to do or not do? Those are your options. So when you say I need to be the future version of me, choose words as I am the future version of me, and believe in it. That's it. It's an option. It's a choice, and many of us choose to see and be backwards and look at everything that is in front of them, like the future. Like, oh my God, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not there yet. Like this, that, the other. It's like, let's take a pause for a minute. Like, where were you last year? Where were you the year before that? Because as conscious beings, going backwards or regression, that's not a real thing. So I think it's just really pouring into yourself, taking care of yourself, giving yourself your love first, because a lot of people love other people so much they're not seeing what they can do to give back to the people they love most, which is giving all of their love to themselves first. So a first step where people can begin is just like, stop once a day and fucking breathe. Like breathe into your body, become your breath, become your body, and align, with just your breath and see what happens there, because people don't take the time to breathe. Everything's so fast. And yes, entrepreneurship is insane, but what the world does not teach people is how to be entrepreneurs or how to think like entrepreneurs. So when people get into real estate, what happens is, they have no intention because they're overwhelmed by witnessing like, oh my God, now I'm not just a mom and a dishwasher and a cleaner at my house and all of the things that, we have to do as responsible humans. But now I'm a marketer, and now I'm a sales rep, and now I'm an attraction. Now I'm like chopping videos and having to post content and having to keep up with the innovation because it's always advancing and always evolving. So I think people are very overwhelmed, and a lot of times they don't show up with intention, but it's because they don't have the space or the right mindset to question why and inquire deeper behind everything that they do. Like when I ask agents, I'm like, why do you do things like that? Because I'm like, I don't get it. Like, please teach me. They say, oh, well, it's how I was taught how to do it. I go, okay, cool. Do you believe in that? Does that make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me, and here's why. Like question everything. Don't just take what you're given and say, cool, this is it for me. Like, we're able to create. And that's the best part about entrepreneurship, is being able to create what things look like for you, why they look like that for you, and what makes sense for you and what does not. But first, you have to question, you have to inquire deeper. So I did this thing yesterday. I created this thing called Mind Math. It's a numbers formula, reprogram your subconsciousness. And I wrote intention. And instead of the I's, I replaced them with the ones, and the E is a 3. So the one truth about intention, you either have it or you do not. Like that's truthful.
When you say intention, and this might come across as silly, but when you say intention, right, you said something earlier about, a lot of people are so overwhelmed that they can't show up with intention. You keep talking about intention, but what is intention? And I want to thank you for openly sharing so much of your story and your past. I know that's not easy for a lot of people. For some people, it's just part of the process of healing. But thank you for sharing that. But like when you say intention, what do you mean like by intention?
Knowing and understanding why you do every single thing you do. So that if anyone says, okay, if anyone questions your intention, why you do things like that, you have all the answers.
So as like an agent, right? Because this isn't taught in school. And I mean, and this isn't just real estate. This is like across the board, every industry. Nobody talks about this. They don't talk about it in school or colleges.
No, not at all.
Where, like, how, it's kind of like, it sounds a little bit like Simon Sinek, find your why type of thing. Is that kind of like what intention is? It's finding your why, or is it a little bit deeper, more spiritual, more connected? Like,
so the three in intention with this mind math formula that I was playing around with yesterday, there's 3 questions that you can ask yourself. Like, let's say everything you do, like there's so many things that we do, right? Marketing, content creation, sales. Why the 3 questions you should ask for everything is, why do I do it this way? Why do I do it this way? And if you don't have the answer, quiet your mind and let it come to you. And if what you're doing doesn't resonate with you, like, don't do that. Find what does. And then number 2 is, if I do believe in this and this is for me, I agree with this. Could I make it better? Like, what can I do to make it better? And then the third one is, do I even care? Because a lot of, if you don't care about people, like, don't pretend to. Like that's horrible thing to do, especially in this industry when we're dealing with people's future fulfillment and finance. Like that's not cool. And then, nobody's taught intention. What we're taught is how to, follow, stand in a straight line and raise your hand before you speak. It's silly. And thank you for being silly, Vikram. Being silly always. But I welcome all questions, man. I'm not, I wear my hands on my sleeve for real. Like, I love speaking about my son and my brother because they're alive and they're with me. So I don't know if I answered your question. ADHD is a real thing.
You did, and I have a follow up, but I don't know how to word it, so I'm gonna let Cody go because Cody's
you're gonna let me go. Okay.
Cody's primed with a great question. I can feel it.
Yeah, like I'm not primed with a great question. I'm taking in a lot of what Marty's saying because I think that there's power in presence. And I think that Marty has something, and there's no doubt in my mind that when you walk into a listing presentation, why you win it, because it's presence. You're presently with people. And when you can be presently with people, and this is something I've had to work on consistently over the last couple of years about being present with people, and the people around me have helped me become better, being better present. There's something I noticed about you. This is something I noticed about you very early on was presence. How do you, because I think a lot of people do struggle with this, and me including, how do you find yourself being present with people in the moment where you can freely give to them in a way where you're able to, because I find my mind races a lot, especially when there's a lot happening in business. And Sharon is really good at this. Like no matter where, when you end up with Sharon in a meeting, like he has, you have his undivided attention. And you're very similar.
Man. I love that guy.
And you're very similar that way where, when you're when you, is that something you've practiced? Is that something that has come natural to you to be present in the moment?
So the question I asked, like if there's ever a panel, I'm like, yo, who are your heroes? Like, tell me your top three. You can't say family members, not allowed. My three heroes that allow me to be present and available, Ram Dass, and he wrote a book called Be Here Now, and it's like, it's the hippie Bible from the 70s. This guy, he was I should know what college, Stanford professor, and him and Timothy Leary were running psilocybin and LSD healing. And this was in the 60s when, in the early 60s, they're saying, oh my God, psychedelics are the God's gift to trauma and pain and hurt and healing, like, addiction, you name it, man. Like, you can reprogram your subconscious mind with psychedelics. They will teach you everything you need to know if you give them the love and respect that they deserve. And then what happened, right? When all the hippies are like, I'm not going over there to die for your stupid war, you weirdos. Where was that? In the 60s, they were fighting in, Vietnam. And then that's when the government said, okay, cool, we're banning this. We just kidding. It was not a miracle drug. It's a if you take it, it's gonna make you want to jump off a building because you believe you could fly and you're gonna die. Like, look at that splat on the ground. That was a human. Like, no, it wasn't. It was
that it's because the government realized that people were tapping into
tapping into and not giving a fuck about war and hate, and they were tapping into love.
It's universal love, and people were tapping into things that we're gonna argue with the pharmaceuticals as well, because
LSD and psilocybin are so cheap to manufacture,
and they're effective.
And they're effective. I believe in them. I microdose. I microdose every day. I macrodose once a month, and my macrodose is in ceremony setting that I've manifested as well. It's very intentional. It's rich, it's a ritual. Like, I pray, I meditate, I journal, I fast.
I wanted to touch on this because this is kind of a taboo topic. It's starting to become less taboo, but it's still taboo to a lot of people. Probably a lot of people in our industry, especially the older ones that the people that have been around for a really long time. This is they grew up in the 60s, and this was the taboo topic was drugs kill, acid, mushrooms. Like, these are kids going out and doing stupid shit. And it's really not the case at all. Like, yes, everything can be abused, just like pharmaceuticals. This can be abused too, but there's a real healing component. What I'd like to ask you is, if somebody's got a ton of trauma, right? If somebody's holding on to a ton of trauma, which we all are because we have generational traumas. One is, how do we, for those who think that trauma doesn't affect them, is that true or false? Like, I have family members that, have done the tummy tucks, they've done this, they've done that, and they still have the same challenge after they come out of the surgery, or after they come out of the manipulation that they went into it. Is trauma real? Is trauma real from your previous generations, like childhood trauma?
Can you repeat that last part?
Yeah, like, in your opinion, is childhood or generational trauma, like, is it real in your opinion?
Trauma is real, 100%. Anyone that anybody embodies and thinks about is real. If it's whether I think about it or believe in it or not, so with this work, it's a whole brain technology, and what it does when you go to the root cause of the evil. Let's say Jennifer was raped by uncle and dad, and was locked up in a closet, and they were joking around and snorting cocaine and drinking more beer until they come abuse her again. Yo, that's horrible. What the fuck, man? One should have never happened. 2, it did. And 3, it's torturing her soul every single day, whether she wants to agree with it or not. So why I say the trauma is belonging to you is because it's belonging to you until it's not. And what you have to do in order to release it is you have to learn and understand it. But before you learn and understand it, you have to get comfortable, very uncomfortably, sitting in that space and that energy and that vibration when it comes upon you, to not run away from it, to literally yo, get your machete out and get ready to fight some demons, but intentionally, to witness all of it for what it is, because it belongs to you, and it's there to teach you something. Like, pain teaches us if we allow it to.
When we go down this path of trauma, and the reason I want to bring it up is because it is hard, it is painful, it is scary, right? Like, there is a lot of stuff when you start opening up the layers of the onion, as our friend Shrek would say, and you start going down the path of, I don't want to feel these things anymore. I don't want to feel this anxiety. I don't want to feel like I'm tired of all of this, whatever your is.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it anymore. But a lot of people, right? Because again, real estate agents come from a scarcity mindset. Real estate agents come from a place of fear often, and a place of lacking. And unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap this up, and I really wanted I really want to go deeper, but just due to time, when people start dealing with their trauma, or when you started dealing with your trauma, what did that start opening? Like, as you let go of stuff that you don't want to hold on to, how did it open up space for things that you wanted to bring into your life?
Perfect. I'm going to give you a beautiful visual here. So Jenny's in the closet, tied to the chair, and through the work, we're able to bring resources. So she's not there alone. She's there with her now self, right? Her 40-year-old self. And is there to support her 3-year-olds or her 6-year-old self, right? And then grandma's there too. And Uncle Fred's there with his machetes, right? And magic exists, right? In real life and in your subconscious mind. So what happens is we look for, let's say, anything that's calling your attention right now that can help you get out of this chair that you're bound to. And she says, actually, there's a mushroom right there. Looks just like Mario Brothers mushroom. And she touches it and becomes a giant. The chair breaks, the ropes break. She stands up, the house breaks. Like, it's like Alice in Wonderland. She's bigger than shit. She broke the house, right? And she gets to do whatever. And then, like, okay, cool. Now that you're huge, looking down at your dad and your uncle being little dickheads, what do you want to do now? And sometimes they're like, you know what? I just want to run and play and just be a giant. And sometimes they'll say, yo, I want to step on these motherfuckers and kill them so they can't ever touch anybody else again. And what that does And the subconscious mind is, what's beautiful about your brain is it cannot decipher the difference between past memory, whether it's this life or another prior to, a dream that you remember, or a future vision that's detailed imagery, or this work. It's all imagery, and we're connecting this imagery to emotion, to sound, to touch, to everything. It's real. So when Jenny steps on dad and uncle, now her subconscious mind takes that neurotransmitter that takes this emotion, this root evil, into a place of trauma, a reaction. It says bye-bye to that bridge and recreates a new neurotransmitter to where she's powerful and the situation is not controlling over her anymore or ever again. Like the trauma goes bye-bye. Like it's beautiful. It works amazing. So when I was with Michael Klein and my grandma came back to me, when I first saw her, I felt such remorse because I didn't say goodbye to her on her deathbed, because she was my person. I was her favorite grandchild out of 22 first grandchildren. Like everyone knows, Marty's grandma's favorite. Like she's like, yeah, fuck yeah, he is. But she knew that she was very intuitive, and she knew in this lifetime that I was going to be able to live with her after she passed. She never told me that. What happened was that regret that I didn't say what I needed to say to her at the end because I was so afraid of losing her. It was nasty. It was dark. It was tar. It was heavy. It consumed my entire being. And after having the conversation that I had with her and just, wow, she's back into my existence. Like, the light was vibrant. It was yellow and orange, and it circulated my entire being. I was able to manipulate this energy, and I was able to fill the room with it. And then, selfishly at the end, I'm like, this is mine. I'm taking all of it back because I need it. Like my grandma's back. We're back in business, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, this from the green room to here, this was a really cool podcast, man. Like I'm gonna let Cody finish it off. I'm gonna start crying, but thank you so much, bro.
Cry, man. Let me see those tears come out.
Yeah, let me see those tears, Vikram.
They were there earlier. Like they're
yeah.
Let
me see those tears. Marty, I just want to say thank you to the bottom of my heart, just for sharing so vulnerably, honestly, and just sharing something that I think, like Vikram kept saying, is super taboo, and especially in this industry, and just in entrepreneurship as well. Like we know, like I very firmly believe that a large portion of success from the people that we hang out with that are like light years ahead of where I want to be in business. A lot of them are like very mindset guru based people that really just are so in tune with themselves and so in tune with spirit or universe, whatever you want to call it. And I just want to say thank you. If somebody were to want to reach out to you and kind of have a conversation about your story, about learning more about how you got to where you are today, learning more about the healing process that you went on, that maybe they need somebody that they can reach out to via the DMs to have a conversation. Maybe they're in the same situation or a similar situation where they just feel down on their luck. They feel like they just don't know how to get out of the hole that they're in. Where can we send them to have a conversation with you?
Call me, text me, 224-355-9903, and I will answer. And if I don't, I will respond back to you and give you the love and the attention that you deserve. Marty Rinehart on Facebook, RINEHART, and Marty_Rinehart_vibe on Instagram.
I love it. I just want to say thank you, Marty. And I want to say thank you for tuning into another episode of the RE Agent Podcast. If you're listening back on iTunes, you're on Spotify. This was a very, very special episode, very different than what we normally chat about, but so powerful. I encourage you to go listen to it again and again and again. And I want to say thank you for tuning in. We'll see you soon.